Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. I got a good one here for you, especially with the way the market is currently. We're seeing more and more and more rug pulls, abandoned projects, things along those lines. So it is incredibly important if you decide to jump into any games here in the next few months, and I guess for the rest of your time on Play to Earn, that you do your research and make sure that you're picking some great games to jump into. What we're going to talk about today are 4 signs that a project could be a rug pull. These are not guaranteed, and please take this with a grain of salt, but I think these are good things to take a look at. These are some of the things that I look at when I look at a new project. If it has one or more of these signs, or red flags, you could even say, I take a much, much closer look and deep dive into those things. Because normally they are maybe not necessarily rug pulls, but normally they get abandoned pretty darn quick. Whether it's intentional or unintentional, the games do not last a long time. So this is my disclaimer. Again, these are not, if you see one of the red flags, you run away. There is one that I would run away from, but we'll talk about that here in a second. But they're signs to take a much, much closer look, and don't just jump into it, especially if the games have a lot of hype around them. We've seen a couple recently that just dropped, and there's a lot of hype around them, and within a week, less than a week, their price dropped considerably, and they left the project as fast as they could make that initial sale. So be careful, listen to these signs, use them as part of your research. It's just another tool for you to use when you're looking for another game. Let's go ahead and dive into it here. All right, first and foremost, if a game is not unique or have any unique features, the chances are it's not going to last. Whether it doesn't last because it's a quick production to do a rug pull, or it's just not going to be that popular. There are games that have copied, for example, Farmer's World. There must have been 20, 30 games that came out after that were clear copies, just different themes. Theme does not make it unique. If the game functionality and the gameplay is the same as a previous game, it is not unique. Then you have games that are much more unique. So what you want to take a look at in the sea, if you look here, the sea of similar umbrellas, you want to take a look for the ones that have the unique features to them. It does not guarantee that they'll be successful, but it guarantees that they'll be different, and they should last longer, especially if people get interested in those unique features. Again, if it has similar qualities, for example, and I'm just throwing this out here, and again, when I go through these examples, other than Farmer's World, I'm not going to throw out specific examples because there's some games that are out there that I think may be red flags, but they haven't proved it yet. But if they have, for example, if they have 3 different tokens in games, and they have a series of tools that create those tokens, and it's a circular type of economy, chances are it's a copy of Farmer's World. They may add some additional elements to it, but it's still a very similar game to that. So make sure you're looking for unique features. I'll throw out a few positives, a few games that are very unique. For example, the easiest one to throw out there is Realm. Then you have Taco. They all have a lot of unique features to it. Farming Tales is unique. It's a farming game, and there's a lot of farming games on Wax and just overall Play to Earn gaming, but it stands out as being very unique with a lot of the features that are in there. So just look for those unique features. Even if it's a similar theme to another game, it doesn't necessarily mean it's red flag. Look for the uniqueness. I see how many times I can say unique in the matter of a few minutes there. Trying to push that one home. All right, next one, and this is the red flag that I would run away from as soon as I see it. If they promise an ROI, especially a quick ROI, get out of there. First of all, promising ROIs is against policy. It's also, I believe, illegal in a lot of countries. If they promise any ROI, the chances are that they are going to get blacklisted on Atomic Hub and Nifty, or they'll get their whitelist removed, just because we saw this example a few months ago. I did a full video on that. Two were claiming ROIs, and they were delisted. They got their whitelist back, and they ended up peacing out. They didn't last long at all because of the poor. Basically, it's a terrible advertising method. Also tries to get people to jump on real quick, buy real quick, with the expectation ROI, and it's an easy gateway for a rug pull. So if they promise an ROI, I personally run away from that super fast. Do your research if you still think the game is promising. That's totally on you, but that's a sign that I have. I run from those. Next is the team. And this one is seems obvious, but you'd be surprised. There are a lot of teams that work on multiple projects. That is not a bad thing. If they have the experience and they have a successful track record, that's a very good thing to look at. Hindsight, if a team was involved in a rug pull previously, there's a good chance they're going to do another rug pull or abandon the project at some point. There's an example out there right now. Again, I don't necessarily want to name, but you can easily take a look at the team photos. They may have different names on the team page, but it's pretty obvious that they were involved in a recent abandoned project. I don't know if I'd necessarily call the abandoned project a rug pull, but they were recently involved in that project where the game is no longer working. And there's no updates and there's no communication to the team. If you're interested in that, we can have a conversation offline. Again, I don't want to publicly throw that out there because I don't know if the new game is going to be a rug pull. It's just a game I would stay away from because there's a lot of people in the new game that aren't necessarily from the old game, but there are, I think, 4 or 5 people from an abandoned project currently working on this game. If you know the name of the game, go ahead and put in the comments down below. I'm not going to say it out loud, though. All right, next is, and this is the last one I have on the list, early big sales. This one's kind of subjective here. A lot of projects do early sales in order to help fund the development of the game. That's just the way play to earn is, especially on the Wax blockchain. There's not a lot of funding available since play to earn is still very, very new to the gaming world. So there's not a lot of investors that'll jump into it yet. So what games typically do is they do some of those initial sales to kind of fund the development for the next phases. That is normal. It's the games that go out there and try and do huge sales, push them super fast, like 4 sales in the matter of a few weeks, or they try and do whitelist sales. If there's multiple tiers of whitelist sales or even whitelist sales in general, I have gotten to the point where I'm going to shy away from those. There's a few projects that have reached out to me to try and do promotions for their whitelist sales, and I will instantly say no to those because not necessarily that they're going to be a rug pull, but there's no reason to do a whitelist sale. I don't like that. It's they're getting a bunch of cash and they haven't really provided other than access to buy some more stuff from them. I don't like that. I usually that does not end well. There are some projects where it has gone well, but most projects don't. So again, take this with a grain of salt. If it's a sale that's consistent with the rest of the market, it's usually a funding option to get them ready to push for the next phase. If it's a big sale, if it is, they pump a ton of hype into it, if it's whitelist sales, those are things that I shy away from, or I take a bigger look at it just to make sure that it doesn't have any of the other red flags. Now, as a bonus, I do have 3 additional red flags that I throw out there. These are less of a red flag. These are more of a yellow flags, more of a warning. So take these with a grain of salt. If I see all 3 of these, or I see one of the bigger red flags that we just covered with maybe 1 or 2 of these, I'll shy away from, but it's just something that you should be aware of. Here's some other possible signs. For example, there's a poor roadmap. It shows maybe the next 3 months as high development to get that to that launch point, and then everything else on the roadmap after the launch of the game is very generic or no information at all. It's usually a sign that they're only trying to get to launch and haven't really looked at the long-term vision of the game, whether it's going to be successful or not long-term. That is a possible sign. Additionally, in the white papers, if the white paper is super weak. Now, the white paper is going to be weak initially as they're going through the planning and design and initial development stage. But the stronger the white paper, the earlier, the better chances that they'll be more successful. There's some games out there that are very poor that I've talked to the developers to potentially do a gameplay review video. And I've talked to them about the white papers, asking them when the white paper is going to be ready. If they say the white paper is ready and it's weak, that's just I walk away. I won't even do a gameplay review on that one. And then last but not least, partners with other rug pulls. Whether they know it or not, if they partner with another rug pull, there's a chance that they are not going to do as well. They haven't done their own research on a project. We saw a similar example. This one's already been proven to be a rug pull. I believe it was called Warspace. I think that's what it was called. They had a few partners that they claimed were not the same development team, but then we see that they abandoned their projects also. So just keep an eye on the teams and the projects that they partner with. If their partners become rug pulls, it's a sign that you should look a little deeper. All 6 of these, all 7 if I could count, all 7 of them are definite flags that you should do some more research. I guarantee there's some really good projects out there that at some point had one of these flags. You just got to do your research. Find out what's best for your situation. Everybody's going to run into potentially a rug pull at some point. If you get out of it quickly, good for you. If you're stuck in there, it's a bummer. Some examples of rug pulls that I've gotten into. Farmers World is the reason I joined Wax. That and the Funko drops. Thankfully, after 2 days in Farmers World, I saw the signs, and I was able to go ahead and pull out of that early enough before it actually had any of the dips. It gave me some lessons learned that I looked for other projects. So we're all going to touch a rug pull at some point. It's how you react to it and how quickly you're able to identify it as a rug pull. Preferably before you even invest into it is the ideal situation. But there is a chance that you could jump into it just if you see the red flags, see if you can jump out of it as quickly. All right, I hope you have a great day. Go ahead and comment down below. Are there any other rug pulls that I missed? I also wanted to give credit. The inspiration for this video was from basically a thread that I saw on Twitter, and I apologize. I am trying to remember the name of the person who posted it. I'll go back on Twitter and go ahead and give you credit in the description, but I wanted to make sure that I gave credit where credit's due. So I want you all to have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.